tell me a little bit about the changes that are taking place in Hearts of Gold and why they're taking place?
Sure, Matthew. Like as I mentioned in a just previous question, one of the changes that is happening is Hearts of Gold's funding structure. We're having to move from our small donor base and really stretch out and find a way to become self-sustaining. So we're actually pursuing ways to keep a constant monetary source for the foundation.
And what kind of effects will that have, having a sustained, reliable base of donations? How will that affect the organization? How will that affect your partner organizations?
It definitely takes the feast and famine out of what it is that we do. Like most foundations operate on a sort of, up and down scale. You have an event, you have a fundraiser, you get this amount of money, you're scrambling to kind of backfill the emergency cases that came through the door. And we really want to take away that level of insecurity for both us and the foundations that we help. This will allow us to further work on developing deeper our programs, running more workshops with our people instead of desperately trying to scramble to the next fundraiser.
What challenges have you faced in forming the foundation legally here in Ecuador?
Just like everybody knows, when you go to get anything done legal paperwork wise here, you've constantly have different documents that need to be filed. This day is different than the next day, or you didn't get this one stamped. So the constant renewal and process of tracking our monies, talking about what we do with that money, and just actually filing the legal paperwork to make sure we're not, money laundering and doing lots of other stuff that foundations have actually been known for here in Ecuador, has provided a challenge. It actually took just over a year to get finally approved as a legal foundation here.
Were you able to do that with just in-house volunteers, or did you have to reach out for external help with lawyers and things like that?
It was definitely a combo. There were some volunteers who had some knowledge, but just like anybody coming from a new country, assumption is the worst thing that you can do. So it's really been a process of trial and error, and due to the fact of some of our other corporate sponsors, we've been able to luckily use some legal advice in getting through. We've also had some great employees who worked really closely with getting those documents done, who were there meeting after meeting, talking to those ladies, getting our, statutes approved for the board. It was a really, day-by-day process that you had to be in there pushing those documents through.
So speaking to that difficulty, just to kind of give me perspective, how many other people have been able to obtain foundation status in Ecuador legally?
Currently right now, Matthew, I believe there's 122 legal foundations operating in Ecuador, and the statistics are around 75% of those foundations go under in about 2 years due to the financial difficulties of staying alive and the burdensome process of constantly reporting to the MIS, which is the Ministry of Social and Economic Inclusion.
So if you could say anything to people, the people that are watching, to help them understand what you do and what they could do to help, what would it be?
I guess what I would say is this is a great organization to be involved with. It gives you a chance, despite language barriers, cultural barriers, to get involved with your local community. This helps change perspectives in this new home of ours, which is Cuenca. It helps the Cuencanos see that, gringos are here, they're here to give back. We take pride in this community and we want to give something back to it. So I think I'd love more people to get involved, whether that's through time or donations. That would be what I would love to see, because it's a great, exciting organization. We're right on that tipping point now where I'd hate to see us go away, but I'd love to see us go big.
Would you say that, for those that ask, or those that say that Hearts of Gold is just throwing money at the problem, would you say that Hearts of Gold is more focused on helping people financially, or Hearts of Gold is more centered on actually helping people at their core with things like education, things that last a lifetime?
I'm actually glad you asked that. One of the most important things that we do, and it was really the trend in international development, is don't assume anything. We cannot apply North American solutions to Ecuadorian problems. One of the most important things to do when you come to a new country, and what Hearts of Gold does exceptionally well, is find other organizations that are on the ground level that can assess the community needs, and we help them jointly combine programs and design them in a way that we're not just looking at one aspect. We're not just giving money for a nutrition program. We're giving money for a nutrition program that supports an entire building where underprivileged kids can go for a self-environment. We don't just give education at CTAP Lucy. We do give them nutrition. We give them a healthy meal. We give their families access to therapy. So we're really looking at a holistic approach to giving here. which you'll notice not many places actually do right now. What they do is they'll crop up around one small sort of problem or group, and then once that money's been raised and they've paid that money to the problem, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're walking the entire step with the community. Hearts to Gold is committed to step every single day with that community to move them all forward. It's not something we're just dropping money at.
So you think a lot of the organizations here tend to be more short-term, more as far as their focus, and that Hearts of Gold is basically helping them to lengthen their purpose and broaden their purpose?
Absolutely. Once again, the fact that they go under 2 years tells you something about how things are structured here. That's why the partnership between us and Ecuadorian foundations have been really, in a sense, magical, because we're bringing our expertise and our forethought in budgeting and how to go out and be self-sustaining, how to do small projects to bring in money in ways that they'd never thought possible. However, there's still the eyes on the ground, or the boots on the ground that tell us, you know what, this family needs this extra counseling. And you know what, it's not the kid who needs it, it's the mom. The mom needs to know that, you know what, you can't beat your kid when they don't get good grades. You've got to help in another way. So we're really committed to that joint partnership for everything that we do at Hearts of Gold.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Matthew.